Hey, what's up? Eva Lopez, and celebrating day 3 of my water fast complete. So, pretty much no hunger, just extremely thirsty for water. So, I'm drinking a lot, and I was able to sleep good last night. Um, it was a solid amount of sleep, so that was good. My tongue this morning had a very light white film. So definitely there is still work to be done. So when I started the fast, I was 126 pounds. And on the second day of my water fast, I was 124 pounds. And today, when I weighed myself, I was 122 pounds and 6 ounces. So that is the progress report on the weight loss front. And again, I'm not doing this water fast for weight loss. I'm actually doing this for enlightenment, which you usually tend to experience, and your body does go into a euphoric state somewhere between 7 days into your water fast. So considering that I am planning, I'm actually pretty confident now that I'll end up doing a 14-day water fast so that I can get the most benefits. At that point, I'll decide whether if I want to increase the amount of days after the 14 days. I'll read my body. If my hunger comes back naturally, then I'll probably, start refeeding. And the amount of days that you do in a water fast should be equal to the amount of days that you refeed. So if you do a 7-day water fast, then you'll be refeeding for 7 days. If you're doing a 14-day, you refeed 14 days. Meaning those 14 days, you should be really, really, really conscious of what you're eating, because you just detox your body. You don't want to undo that by running and eating a pizza, which I can tell you when I was 14 and I did my first water fast, after 7 days, I did a horrible mistake of eating pizza, and I'll tell you how that felt. Worst experience because I could have put myself in the hospital possibly. The pain in my gut, it actually felt like it was getting stuck, and I was in agony. I was in pain. I had to go lay down into a fetal position. There was a big high because my taste buds had been refined, and then all of a sudden I gave this shock with high sodium and all these preservatives. So that wasn't a good idea. I've also had another fast that I did where I was 19 days and I broke it with a quesadilla, which wasn't as bad as the pizza because at least the quesadilla was homemade by my mother, and that's what actually made me crack, was smelling all that homemade goodness, and it just reminded me of my childhood. So, and I actually wasn't really hungry at all on the 19th day, and the goal was to actually hit 21 days, but I just gave into the temptation because my mother doesn't do quesadillas often. So when she did that quesadilla and it was a holiday and I was at her place, I was just like, I caved right in. And everybody there was enabling me. They were just like, oh, you should eat. No one in my family understands why I do water fasts. They think it's crazy. They're just like, we don't know why you're doing this to yourself. You're starving yourself. Do you have an eating disorder? The answer is no, because trust me, if you know my friends, we quite often actually go to really nice restaurants. It's kind of like a thing that we like to do. We like to go to fancy restaurants within the city and explore. And when we find something that's so good, we tend to frequent that place for a bit and then move on to the next great thing. So I love experimenting with food. I've traveled to 13 countries, and every single time I went to a new country, I probably gained 7 to 10 pounds on average because I was there and it was pure gluttony, pretty much. So, and I don't regret it because chances are, do I think in my head that I'll ever find myself in China, Guangzhou? Chances are I won't. Um, However, maybe Singapore or Beijing. But, there are places that I've been to that I don't think I'll be repeating, and that's not the intention that I want. I actually want to travel to more countries before I have kids. And not to say that you can't travel when you have kids, I just would prefer to do more traveling while I'm single. And yeah, so I don't regret eating all that food that I did during my travels. I do obviously I understand I did damage to my body because of my choices. And I'm not talking about the binge eating during traveling. That wasn't a healthy choice, but I really don't regret that. But more other things, like when I went through my period where I was a huge pothead and I was high 16 hours a day, and I had a good income, so I was able to afford that luxury of doing it in the levels that I was doing, which was a lot. I was probably spending about $600 a month on weed. So many people were telling me you should grow it, but then again, at the time, it was illegal to grow your own marijuana, and it still is unless you are known, recognized by the government, and have the permission to actually grow medical marijuana. So it wasn't an option at the time. But I kicked that habit about a year ago, in November of, more than a year ago, it was November 2015. And I think that's when I officially quit buying any weed and spending, the crazy amounts of money that I was just throwing at that. But I actually did have another encounter in July of 2016 where I was up north and I was surrounded by a whole bunch of people within the cottage, area, and they were all smoking pot, and they, I told them that I had quit, and I don't know, just having a few drinks here and there, I ended up smoking a spliff, and then I became extremely paranoid and socially awkward, and my heart started racing, and I guess maybe I lost my tolerance because I hadn't smoked in such a long time. So either way, when I did my blood test, I did still have traces of THC, and I really want to clean my womb. I want to be healthy so that I will be fertile, and I know that I am fertile, but I just want to make sure that I have. Not many people actually prepare their womb before having kids, and they say that it is a great idea to prep your womb at 4 to 5 years. Now, I'm currently 27 and not interested in having any children right now at this age, because for me, this is still my prime. I want to enjoy traveling. I want to enjoy my youth. I want to explore a few business ideas that I have going around floating in my brain. So I feel that for myself, it would be difficult for me to have children at this current time with all the activities that I want to do. So, but if I can prep my room for 4 years, then, and, end up having my first kid when I'm like 31, 32, to me, that's great. But, they always say that once you turn 28, it becomes difficult. But I think it depends on how you treat your body. If you're treating this body as a temple, I don't think you'll have a problem. I had an old boss that ended up getting pregnant at age 42, her first child, and there was no issues. But it's because of how she lived her life, how she nourished her body. She was extremely conscious of, you know, what she was putting in her mouth. She was very particular about certain products that she, you know, would not use whatsoever because of, you know, certain additives. Like she would avoid MSG, which, you know, is pretty much like canned food or Chinese food, hence the itis after you eat, you know, Chinese food. And I'm talking about like restaurants, fast food restaurants, Chinese type restaurants, those types. Not the Chinese food that you make at home, because you can make that super, super healthy. So, yeah, I'm really enjoying this fast. I already feel that I'm getting a lot of benefits, and things are improving with my body, and there is so much information out there, so many different testimonies. You know, don't even believe me. Take the time to do the research. There are people who, you know, they reversed their like tumors or skin tags that they developed on their body, which skin tags is just like fat that's hanging off your flesh, and they actually can completely disappear because your body starts to eat away at your body is intelligent. When you hit ketosis, it starts to eat the bad cells in your body. It doesn't go right away to eating, you know, your muscle, because I was hearing that my muscle would dissipate, but you know, I've been looking at my body, and a lot of my muscle that I've gained hasn't really disappeared, so that's really good. I can't really show it to you, and considering I'm completely naked, but I will do a video on that where I'll show you my full body before and the after. When I complete the fast, I will do a very detailed before and after, you know, because I already did the recording on my GoPro in a red bikini, and front, side, back, everything, and it's, yeah. So that will be slightly embarrassing. Not slightly, it will be embarrassing, but I will show it to you guys, and you ladies too, both. And yeah, so, you know, I'm not an expert, but I do believe in these testimonies. You know, you can just look at how authentic they are when they're telling you about their miraculous healings. Water fast doesn't heal you. Your body heals itself when you just get out of its way, and it doesn't have to try to work so hard to process everything that you're ingesting and drinking. So I believe in miracles with water fasting, and there have been some amazing testimonies that you can find on YouTube of people who have had tumors, lumps in their body, and their body just eats away at that at those cells, and it eats it away, and then once it's done eating that, then it starts attacking, and it's you know, taking away the fat in your body, which a lot of nasty toxins are buried in your fat, and fat is your protection of your body. When you, for example, if you've done cocaine, the cocaine will actually, your body will put that cocaine into your fat cells. So I can tell you from experience, because I've been extremely experimental with recreational drugs, which I do not recommend at all, especially blow. That's cocaine, right? Don't recommend doing that. I almost died. I did it for probably a few weeks, and I was pretty confident that I was okay doing it, but there was one day that I took it and it did not sit well in my body, and I actually felt like I was having a heart attack, and I was in the middle of driving. It was a huge, maybe I'll tell that story in detail another time, but because this is already 15 minutes. Okay, so it was a really stupid idea for me to have done that, and I do not recommend doing it. But here's what I noticed. There was once where when I did a fast after I had gone on a binge of doing that, and I hadn't eaten anything, and then around the 4th or 5th day, I had all the sensations that I was high on cocaine. My eyes dilated. It was crazy. I felt all the symptoms, and I was just wondering, like, what the heck? I haven't done anything. I'm doing a cleanse, a water fast. And what I think happened is, because I was fasting, my body had finally reached a point where it ate a fat store that had cocaine in it, and that's what gave me that high again. And it must have released it while it was like, I don't know. That was really, really a strange experience. Actually, I can't remember exactly what day during, how many days into the fast that happened, but I remember that clearly because I told multiple people that what happened that day. So fasting is a great way if you have suffered from any type of drug addiction. If you've done that, taking this time to do water fasting to get all those chemicals out is amazing. If you can take some apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons in a glass of lukewarm water with a pinch of cayenne, I would recommend this a lot to people who have, I would recommend to anybody to take that because it's freaking amazing. But it helps with pushing out the toxins and putting them into your urine, so you evacuate that that way as quickly as possible. And apple cider vinegar helps. So yeah, well, I'm feeling good after completing day 3. Stay tuned for tomorrow for the completion of day 4 of my water fast, and thanks for your support and thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate the likes. I really appreciate when you subscribe, and I'll keep on putting stuff out there. So God bless, and I will see you tomorrow.